Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I'm Josh Strife Hayes and I love MMORPGs. I've played them for the majority of my life and collectively have spent tens of thousands of hours inside virtual worlds. After my extensive time gaming and living through so many online games, I've come to realise there are a few problems present in the MMORPG world. This is a series of videos discussing what's ruining the MMORPG genre. Today, why the ability to fast travel ruins MMORPGs. As usual, let's clarify what we're talking about first so our definitions are the same. Fast travel does not mean travelling fast, it means travelling instantly. In most MMOs you can walk around, in some you can run, and then in others you can hop onto a mount, either flying or non-flying, and journey around the world. All these things make actual movements from point A to point B faster. And while they may be faster methods of travelling themselves, they are not fast travel. Fast travel is the act of instantly moving from point A to point B, anywhere else in the world, without crossing the distance in between. This can be achieved through methods such as teleporting to a major city or specific dungeon, or to a friend. There are skills, items, or abilities that make fast travel possible. Some have cooldowns or limited time uses per hour, and some can be used infinitely. If you've not played many MMORPGs before, then it probably sounds pretty convenient. The ability to go anywhere instantly and reduce travel time means less boring journey and more fast action, so why am I against this specific gameplay mechanic? I've got four main reasons. They are: 1. It removes your connection to the landscape. MMOs are huge. The clue is in the title. They're massive. And being massive, they'll obviously include some sort of travel from location to location. And it's during this travel time, the time when the enemies are defeated, the other players are far away, and it's only you and the scenery, that you'll form a connection with the landscape. Early game in most MMORPGs, you will be walking through some fantastical locations, and you'll come to know them, remember them, and in some cases even like them. Not because of the in-game graphics, but because as you start to slowly memorize the landscape, you'll become connected to it. You'll know where that shortcut is, or how there are two small hills before your destination, or how you now need to turn right after the second tree. You'll begin to use the landscape to guide you and navigate, using its markers and signs, such as rocks, slopes, debris, lakes, and rivers. You are existing within this game as a citizen of the game. You are learning the lay of the land, and that will give you an appreciation for what the art and game designer chose to do with this map. To use a personal example, I can remember the entire free world of old school RuneScape, because I've made the journey from Lumbridge to Varrock so many times, crossing the bridge, running past the cows and chickens, jumping over the stile, or avoiding the aggressive black mages just before Varrock. And if you've played old school RuneScape, you probably went on that journey with me in your head just now. That journey, despite containing no experience or loot or game progressing content, contains something just as important: the game itself, the heart and soul of the countryside and the city outskirts. And I began to appreciate and enjoy this journey. Early game World of Warcraft, EverQuest, Terra, Final Fantasy XIV, all these great games connect you to the game world by making you experience them. To include my required Dark Souls 1 example, every Dark Souls 1 player remembers every twist and turn of Undeadburg because you had to pass through it so often. You became a citizen of that world by repetition. So why do I feel fast travel is ruining MMORPGs? Well, removing the journey, even if that journey itself may be an experience point waste or a non-productive part of the game, removes a fundamental part of the MMORPG, the world itself. Yes, it would indeed save time to be able to teleport directly to B from A without passing any scenery on the way, but that doesn't give you any sort of emotional connection to the world, its inhabitants, or the layout of the land, because you'll never experience them if you do that. If you remove the need for me to travel past or over or around something, then that something will cease to have any relevance to me. Many games, specifically MMORPGs, praise themselves on the sheer size of their game world, and then they include fast travel, which means while yes, the world may be huge, I will never connect with it or be forced to remember any of it, because there's just no reason to. Which links to point 2. 2. It makes the world feel smaller. A vast game world is an impressive feat. Adding the ability to instantly travel to any part of it removes the point of it being vast in the first place. If a game boasts about the sheer size of the playable area, then making one part of the game require travel, require journey and time to reach, is a valid game design decision. If this game world is 50 square miles large, then having the player prepare for and undertake a journey to traverse it could be an exciting and terrifying task, fraught with danger and peril. Or you could have them teleport there and remove any sense of adventure at all. If I can instantly travel from point to point, then I won't register the distance between those points. To me, they'll effectively be neighbours. I was somewhere, now I'm somewhere else, and I have no way of knowing how these points connect. Should I be proud I'm here because it's a long and arduous journey, or am I just next to a major city? The event of fast travelling removes my relationship as a player to the world size. I am very impressed when a game world tells me it would take hours to traverse across it, but when I am able to visit all the major cities, dungeons or interesting locations effectively instantly, it doesn't feel big. It feels very, very small. And if the world is small... 3. It removes the sense of exploration. The MMORPG is head and shoulders above any other game genre when it comes to exploration. The ability to group up with your friends and then go on an adventure through dangerous terrain, across oceans, inside caves, up mountains is such a brilliant experience. It's tabletop Dungeons and Dragons made 3D. Because it truly feels like your survival and success depends on your team, your communication and your preparation. One wrong move and you'll all be stranded very far from home in a very dangerous place. Except with fast travel existing, you won't. You'll be able to instantly be anywhere you need to be. I often get asked whenever I'm playing an MMO why I'm travelling out into the vast wilderness of many MMO games, and when I reply that I'm exploring, I get asked, why? And I don't have any valid response besides, I want to, because that's really the only legitimate response there is. I'm not going to discover anything new. It's not going to get me anywhere interesting I can't just fast travel to. If anything, I'm just wasting valuable combat or experience grinding time by making this useless journey. If your game gives me the option to travel between all major cities, quest hubs or dungeons, and those places are where the majority of the game happens, you've removed any real reason to wander off the beaten path. You've removed any point of having a huge game if you limit it and reduce it to several extremely important locations. So now we have a world that you're not connected to or invested in, with artwork and game design elements going unnoticed and unappreciated because you'll never have to actually experience them, a small linked world and no reason to bother heading out into the unknown. I believe These three main issues culminate in the fourth and final point. 4. It removes the emotional impact of an event. An event, say eating a meal or going to the theatre, isn't just the event itself. In the psychology of acting, because I'm a theatre nerd, we call this phenomenology, the study of the whole experience related to the individual experiences that created it. 3 years of performing arts degree gives me a single word to help explain an MMORPG concept. Clearly time and money well spent by me. To link this back to food, the whole experience is deciding what to eat, turning the oven on, preparing the food, cooking and smelling it while it cooks, preparing plates or dishes, serving it, and then finally sitting to eat it. There's preparation and build-up, then after there's washing and putting things away. While the pre- and post-events may not be the act of eating food themselves, they're part of the phenomenology of it. Which is why preparing a large meal feels incredibly rewarding compared to just ordering in a takeaway pizza. You're more invested in the event if you've been involved in the build-up and will be involved in the cool-down. Remove those acts, and you actually remove the emotional impact and personal connection to the food itself. It sounds strange, but it's true. If you could instantly order your ideal meal and then have all the washing dealt with, the food may taste nice and you'll still be full, but it will lose something. What many people describe as a certain unexplainable magic. Well, it's entirely explainable. It's the phenomenology of the entire experience reduced to just the base act, and so isn't as emotionally or spiritually fulfilling. Relating this back to MMORPGs, the act of preparing and then travelling to a location is part of the experience. By removing the journey part of the experience and replacing it with fast travel, you're losing a significant chunk of the memorable and emotional impact that place actually had. Then, by allowing fast travel somewhere else, you're losing the post-event experience of leaving the place and returning back to a place of relative safety. EverQuest 1 has you travel to the first dungeon-like area, then run or gate back to a safe spot. But while you're actually there, in the dangerous place, the entire experience is much more intense, because the pre-journey, the event, and the post-event escape are all connected and present. Fast travel reduces the massive world to a small series of important locations. Nowhere is dangerous because everywhere is connected to safety. Nowhere has intense emotional impact because you're removing the artistic build-up needed to actually carry any emotional resonance. Everywhere is connected, and yet nowhere has any feelings of connection to either you or any other place. Fast travel is great at getting you to anywhere instantly, and it's also great at removing any sense of feeling or emotion you would receive from being at any of those places. It's the very extreme of the theme park MMO ideology. Move from fun activity to fun activity with no regard for the world in between, and in doing this, you lose such a crucial chunk of the MMORPG magic that players feel empty or shallow. They feel the world they once knew or felt connected to is now gone. And that's because through the existence and convenience of fast travel, it is. If you played World of Warcraft during Wrath of the Lich King, you probably have a certain emotional memory associated with walking up to the frozen fortress of Ice Crown Citadel, home of the Lich King. The journey up to that point, the story, the walk, the imposing towers, and intimidating army camped outside. I didn't have that because I could just fly over it all immediately. Convenient, yes. Meaningful, not at all. If you want to experience the immense power of phenomenology for yourself, play any MMORPG, or indeed any RPG, without fast travel. Play Fallout, The Witcher, Baldur's Gate, Divinity, Skyrim, Morrowind. Play any RPG and don't fast travel at all. Then tell me if you felt more or less connected to the world and involved in the story due to you being involved in the pre, the event, and the post of any specific experience. That is the power of phenomenology. Thank you for your time. What's your opinion on fast travel within MMORPGs? Good or bad? Useful or pointless? Let me know in the comments below or come and chat to me live on Twitch over at twitch.tv/Josh Strife Hayes. What annoys you about MMORPGs? As a lifelong fan, I'm always happy to talk to anyone. Even if we don't agree, we can chat and be respectful. Take care and have a great day.